Okay, we are at Devin's house. Yeah, Leslie, with my son Leslie, Devin's beautiful wife Vicky,
My beautiful wife, Vicky.
and I'm sorry, Devin's beautiful wife Catherine. I am filming, so I'm nervous.
Oh, my bad.
All right, so look, let's go back to the steak. So what we have here is grass-fed, grass-finished versus cattle feed. In the last 3.5 months, they're on cracked corn and cattle feed. So to answer Leslie's question, when we wean the steer, and we're doing this with steers, which is the bull that's been cut when he's about 4 months old. He is weaned off his mom at about 6 months old. And then for 3.5 months, if he's on grain or regular cattle feed, this is the cattle feed. And then the last 3.5 months, the cattle feed is mixed with cracked corn, 50-50 ratio. So this has been about 7 months after he's been weaned, and you can see the marbling of the meat, the lines of the white marbling fat. The fat on the edges, this is called cap fat. And this is a strip. This was not cut into a T-bone. These are T-bones. So you have the one section of the T-bone, which is the...
This is the strip.
This is the strip.
This is the fillet.
That's the fillet. So there's no fillet on this. It's just the strip side of the T-bone. This would be where the T-bone would be, and your fillet would be over here. And the color looks like pretty close to the same. And the meat, the color of the meat, this doesn't have the marbling fat in the grass-fed, but the meat itself is about the same color. Okay, now these are sirloins. This is the grass-fed, grass-finished sirloin versus the grain-finished sirloin. Here again, the cap fat is much thicker. The color of the meat is pretty close to the same. You have a lot more of the marbling fat here. So we're going to put these on the grill, and we're going to grill them and then see what we can tell you about the difference in the taste. We did want to do a store-bought cut of the same steaks, but we didn't get that part done. But anyway, we will be able to tell the difference between grass-fed, grass-finished versus grain-finished.
So the whole idea behind not having the marbled fat and the grain-fed cattle is that this fat is going to have higher levels of omega-6s or a higher ratio of omega-6s to omega-3s, where this one will be more natural, more one-to-one. However, if you're eating seed oils, if you're eating potato chips and other things like that, it doesn't matter which steak you're eating, right? But the higher levels of omega-6s turn into carcinogens inside the body, and there's science and research out there that shows that they are leading the high levels of omega-6s that we're consuming in our standard American diet lead to cancer, prostate cancer, breast cancer, morbid obesity, diabetes, and everything is coming back to these high levels of omega-6s that turn into carcinogenics inside the body. So the idea is that this steak won't have the same fat, won't have the same omega-6s in the fat, and that's why you see less marbled fat in it.
So omega-6s are bad at higher quantities.
Correct.
And you're getting those from processed food.
You're getting more of those from processed seed oils.
Yeah, right.
Corn oil, canola oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil, grapeseed oil.
Right.
All of those oils
Right.
have high levels, concentrated levels of omega-6s in them.
Right.
So this steak's not going to kill you.
Right.
Right. But if you're trying to avoid high levels of omega-6s in general, this is a healthier steak on the grass finish.
Right.
But
the level of omega-6 you're getting out of the grain-fed, is like...
It's one-to-one ratio. It's more natural.
Right.
It's lower.
The grass-fed, grass-finished is more natural. It's
Right,
low.
right.
But what we're getting out of this other steak is not going to be a problem until we add with it all this other processed food. That's where the real problem is.
That's not a problem by itself.
By itself.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
But one is going to be technically healthier than the other.
Absolutely.
Right.
No doubt.
Right.
Okay. Good.
If you're buying grass-fed burger in a grocery store, that is cattle that was raised on a grass pasture, but still giving corn its last 3 months
Yeah.
to finish it out, to get it fat.
So the term is grass-fed, grass-finished.
Grass finished or 100% grass fed is the same thing.
Yeah, looking at the color of the fat, I've had people give me some sunlight there, Devin.
I was trying to see how many times Leslie's hands blocked the camera.
Yeah. They talk about it being green, and I've never really noticed that. But now that it's on the grill, you can see the fat, the difference in the color of the fat, and there is a
But
little
it
bit
really
of a
has
green.
more to do with the mitochondria that's in the fat.
The mitochondria. That's
There's
in the
not
fat.
grass in the fat.
No, of course
Fact
not.
is, I'm a vegetarian. This cow ate all my vegetables.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm a vegetarian too. They eat the grass, turn it into steak, and I eat the steak. That makes me a vegetarian. Right.
So, are you filming?
All right, we'll do it for Devin. Cut a piece for Devin and a piece of the other. Devin, see if you can tell the difference in what. Which one you got?
This is what I'm used to. You go to the,
All right. So Leslie's got you a piece of. Don't look. So you want to
He can tell the difference. One's a little bit more rare than the other.
see what you think.
Oh, let me trim that.
I like the one on the right. It was more tender. The other one that I just tried is a little bit more tougher, but not unusual. They both
Well,
have
it's
a
tougher because it's thinner and it's more medium well.
Yeah.
And the taller one's medium rare. So you're
Yeah,
gonna have
but-
a softer steak, obviously. We need to compare the silver ones.
I like the one on the right was a little bit more flavor.
My biggest thing is I can tell the difference in the fat. The fat
The
tastes different.
fat was different the way it chewed and the way it tasted.
Well,
Big
some of
time.
that's thickness and
Right, but also
The second one on the right hand side was just missing that slightly gamey flavor.
that's it. That's the difference.
Textures are close to the same, but yeah, just as one
There's a
more.
difference.
If you had another inch
Salt,
steak that was medium
a
rare,
little bit more.
you would have the same tenderness if it was a 1 inch steak at medium rare
Right.
versus a 3/4 inch steak at medium well.
But they're both still softer and tender than store bought stuff.
Oh, wait.
Store bought whilst
Okay,
at the
so there's
grocery
no
store.
difference. There's no difference.
Yeah, well, we don't
There's a
have the
difference in
store-bought to
flavor.
compare.
But we don't have the
These are both
The
guys.
medium rare has a lot more flavor.
I know, but we wanted that regular commercial
These are
store
good.
bought.
These are good.
These are both
This is
guys'
good.
cows.
Hey, if this is your cow, this has good flavor.
Well, they're both his cows.
Very good
They're
flavor,
both.
and I would recommend it medium rare because it gives a nice, good taste when you swallow it. That's how I say it. But not
That
like
was the
this.
word from Kathy.
Here, if you flick this up, it'll do multiple at a time. Okay.
Is it good?
I love it. I eat it every day.
The grass finished does have a richer flavor to it. The tenderness might be in the grain finished. The grass fed is plenty tender.
I didn't get a
Is it-
tenderness difference in these two because they're the same
Yeah.
thickness, cooked the same temperature.
Okay.
Think about that.
Yeah.
I almost get a little bit of a metally taste with the grain because I've been used to eating grass finished for the
Right.
last year, half a year, whatever.
I can see that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like metally.
Yeah. I was just gonna say,
All right,
It-
Dad,
it-
do it again, Dad. You ready?
so the Dad's grain fed has a very good flavor,
It's delicious.
but it's also it just reminds me of like getting a really good steak in a really good
That's
steak
it.
restaurant.
Right,
It's
right.
any other commercial kind of, and you can tell the difference in that flavor, which is different. And I gotta admit, would take some getting used to at first if you didn't know that you were eating that it's. Hey, if you didn't tell me, hey, this is grass fed, it's gonna taste a little different, I would probably think the meat had gone bad or something. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Like,
You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you understand? Like, it's a strange flavor.
All right, so I don't know which one's
You don't know
which.
which one's which.
I don't.
See if you can tell the difference with what you're eating. Like, what would you guess that piece was?
Very tender. Very tasty.
Oh yeah, they both have.
But if you had to guess,
This is grass fed.
grass finish, right?
Reason.
Hey, get out of my way.
Don't cry.
There's a beef. It's a richer flavor.
It's a richer flavor. It's a richer beef flavor.
The grain fed.
Do you get anything kind of almost metally or
commercially.
Commercial, like yeah. There's a difference in the fat that's in the meat.
And it makes it chewier or softer, maybe, but not enough to really say this is that much more tender than grass fed.
No.
But
All I would say is with the grass fed, more salt and pepper than the other one.
What?
To kind of
it's hard to take a taste off your tongue and
Right.
put it into a word.
To have a clean bud.
But the extra fat in the grain finish is like a washing out of the flavor of the
beef.
steak is still there.
Right.
But you don't.
Good
It's not
point.
as rich
Good point.
as the grass fed.
Right, which is why I'm getting it. When I say metally, it's almost like a neutral palate. It's like you're
Yes.
saying, a washed out.
Yes.
And therefore, it's like, this doesn't taste like just meat.
Yeah.
And think about this. I would be willing to bet the venison that is corn fed at a feeder its entire life
Okay.
will taste different than venison that you're going to find out in the woods that's eating acorns and grass.
No doubt.
I bet you.
Well, I'll tell you what. I am pleasantly surprised with the grass-fed, grass-finish.
They're both delicious.
No, but I'm telling you, and to think that
to
it's
me, that's worth the money.
that is healthier too, and taste. I actually, honestly, it's a matter of taste. Everybody's palate's different, but I enjoyed that more than I did the grain finished. I'm sorry, and I'm doing.
Your grain finish is still hands down way better than you would buy it in a store.
oh, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
And
If not for the fact that you know you don't have any of the preservatives and dyes,
dyes and the junk.
But even without that,
these
Show that
cattle,
in the video.
these cattles were
that's that's Dad's hamburger versus store bought.
Right.
There's a difference. We don't have any store bought steaks here today.
Right.
But it's worth seeing that.
So anyway, yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you,
awesome.
man. This is great.